I know this is like a cliche thing to say, but I didn't really write this book. My whole life I've been able to conceptualize what I've had, what I'm creating in my hands, but really this thing has been carrying me for the last 4.5 years. In 2013, I was living in Kenya. I was covering the elections as a freelance journalist, which sounds cooler than it was. It plunged me $5,000 in credit card debt. I didn't really make anything from that, but where I was living, I have 2 brothers that were adopted from Kenya, so I was living with one of the uncles of them outside of Nairobi, and I had a shitty MacBook, so I had like 15 minutes of battery in this hut, so after that would go out, I was pretty bored. And so I had these 3x5 cards, and I would fill one side with different plot ideas. I remember one was about like this guy who would ask all these awkward questions because he inherited a toilet paper factory, and so he always wanted to make the best toilet paper, so he was always asking these like really personal questions to people about like how they used it. That never turned into anything, but this character, Jerry the Hamster, turned up on one side of this. And on the other side of the 3x5 card, I picked like my favorite one on the plot points and story ideas I had, and I would write that out. So leaving Kenya, I had about 12 3x5 cards with this character, Jerry the Hamster, and he was left for a while. And then in 2014, I returned to it. I tried to do that NaNoWriMo, whatever it's called, where you write a full novel in November. I made it to about November 5th, and then that fell out. And then things started to really work out for me. I've been living on the road as a freelance writer, sometimes earning like $400 or $500 a month, so things were tight. I write college papers for kids so they didn't have to. And quote the Haitian proverb, there's no sin in getting by. Ethical qualms regarding it. And in 2014, I was finishing this book, The Nomad's Nomad. The stories were about, at that time, it was 8 years of traveling on the road. And I felt like, okay, I had some like income streams figured out and things were going very well. I had a client I was ghostwriting a book for, and then the cervical neck problem, this pain was emerged and became greater and greater. I saw all the right doctors, I saw the right chiropractors. One doctor saw my MRI, which was a year and a half later after the issue. He basically said I was going to continue to get worse until I became paralyzed in my arms. So I felt like I had been working for 4 years to get to this place where I was financially solvent and beginning to bring the debt like this, and then it was really just like ripped away from me. I was brought to, there was a time where I was playing music before I met William, shortly before this, where I was on this tour, which wasn't as glamorous as it sounds, because it was like dead on the tour. We were at this level when I was there. And so right when I had figured it out, I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't do anything about this success and that I felt I had built for myself. So I've been down and out in Vietnam. I've sat on beaches in Thailand, able to fill only a page handwritten a day before my arm would spasm out and I'd be in this like really intense pain. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't read. I couldn't even like sit like this. I couldn't write. So I was so low, but everything, this table was my life. I had many things on it, and all of that was just completely cleared off that table. And the one thing that was left was Jerry the Hamster. And his story really saved me. People ask, is it for children? No, it's not for children. I don't. But I think it will be banned from schools one day. But it really felt like as I was writing this, like writing a love letter to the world. When I was sure I had cancer in my neck, when doctors and stuff couldn't do anything about it, because you get low, you get into these hypochondriatic states where you're sure that you're dying. I would still write that one page fighting pain and tension to do it because it just felt like the work that needed to be done. So I'm very excited to say that 10, 15, 17, the book is not finished, but it's done. All 66 chapters are accounted for, and now I just have the process of smoothing it out. And there's a lot of people in life where I've shared parts of my work, and they kind of humor me, and they're like, okay, it's kind of good, but yeah, it's great, let's go do something else. But this book, over the last 4.5 years, pieces I've read to people, they follow up with me, they want to know what's going on with it. The people who have heard a lot of it, no one's heard the whole thing yet. Nobody hears the surprise twist yet. There was a woman I had a wonderful brief romance with before I came here, and we were so close to finishing it, but a plane took me away before that, so that wasn't the first person to hear the whole thing. But now I just realized this whole year it's been about healing. I sheltered myself away in Lake Atitlán in Guatemala. Lorelli was my roommate for a week in this beautiful house with our dog Little Bear, so it's great that you are here. And Lorelli, which you, I think, see me, I'd be writing with a dry erase marker on Windows and then dictating into an iPhone. And for a while, I was just carrying for 2.5 years notebooks of Jerry the Hamster, and it took a process because I couldn't really write like I used to and produce like I used to digitize it. So I'm thrilled that it's digitized now. And this is it. I'm going to read a scene from the animal world and the human world. It goes animal chapter, human chapter. It starts off with, there's a scarlet macaw, there's a beta fish called the Buddha, and then there's Jerry the hamster. The scarlet macaw over here is a conversation from Jenny, their master, saying Jerry's got to go, and gets into a panic and helps Jerry escape because she thinks Jerry the hamster's got to go. Now she's actually referring to her deadbeat tenant, Jerome Hopkins, this 80-year-old man who's a piano teacher who can no longer pay his rent, and he's down to his last student, a 12-year-old girl named May. Now, what May doesn't know is that when she was 1 year old, Jerry used to be like the town's music man in this now dying Midwest town because the sugar beet factory closed, taking most of the jobs with it. Jerome was coming back from a gig, and he had this song just coming to him. And so he reached over to the glove compartment to get a pen and paper. And May's mom had finally left, and May's father, Don, and is like leaving town. And there was a car accident, and Jerome Hopkins killed May's mom, spent 2 years in prison for manslaughter, and put all of his songs into a basement and decided to never play his own music again. And so with him, it's a very kind of difficult relationship with May. She's always coming up with her own little songs and stuff, and he's kind of always like downplaying it. But Jerome Hopkins, which there's obviously a parallel. There's Jerry the hamster and Jerome, sometimes called Jerry. We don't have time to get into what this, and this isn't something, this is something like, I call it a hamster piece because it is, and like the things that emerge are like shocking to me and surprising in ways I don't really understand, but this has been along with me on my journey. So the scene that we're getting into is Jerry's out of his cage, and all he wants to do is get back to a cage. He's saved by this mouse, field mouse called Jenny Bean, and this cat Fish Sticks is going to prey upon him, and then they sleep bum to bum. This is the sexual tension between animals and his gutter pipe. But then the next morning, Jerry refuses to leave because he's scared of the outside world, so Jenny Bean leaves him. They weave in and out, and then they get to, anyways, Jerry's about to be eaten by a raccoon, but then he remembers these squirrel races, so they go to these squirrel races where all the animals come together and they watch squirrels racing atop these high wires. Many fall to their death, but it's this very dramatic thing. And Fish Sticks comes and massacres most of the animals at the squirrel races. And so Jenny Bean saves his hamster ass again. And the scene that we're about to read, they're hanging from a gutter pipe. And I don't think it's like really necessarily the most compelling chapter, but it's a simple one. It's just a conversation between Jenny Bean, the field mouse, and Jerry the hamster. And I'm trying to, as you see, not tell you the entire story and read you this whole stack of pages. So that's the scene. They're hanging from the gutter pipe, and I will read it now. Is the yerba mate, is that a thing?
It is. I didn't want to interrupt you, Stephen. No.
Okay, all right. I will try that. So chapter 17. Make yo mental. Jenny Bean gave Jerry the look of these good perverts. Jerry later claimed that he wasn't sobbing. I'm just lamenting my frustration, he claimed. But he was definitely crying his little hamster eyes out. I saved your teddy bear ass twice, Jerry, Jenny Bean said. I refuse to get involved with your issues. The hamster lord knows I got my own to deal with. I am done saving your life. I'm fine on my own, Jerry shot back with a scowl on his jaw, tears wetting his whiskers. Who was this one? Jenny Bean wondered. Jerry, you got no place in mind to bed down for winter. You got no food stash. The mouse paused for a final assessment. Jerry, you got no common sense as an instinct. Without me, you're a connor. Jenny Bean and Jerry were hanging by the ledge of a drainage gutter near where the massacre went down. It was still uncertain if venturing out would lead to more massacre. Jenny Bean made sure Jerry was listening and said in her gravest squeak, "Come the winter, Jerry, your teddy bear ass will freeze to death. Nothing anyone can do will protect you in winter, Jerry." Jerry's belly was trying to tell his heart something, and the message came in the guise of a vague and vast punching inside of him. A soul-deep anxiety that twisted tighter and tighter. "I'm putting down my paw," said Jerry. He hung recklessly by one paw and waved the other in the air. "You're no longer allowed to say negative things to me." Jenny Bean regarded Jerry like a raven would observe a worm were to sprout wings and fly from its beak. "That's not brave, Jerry, hanging by one paw. It's reckless and stupid, so stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it." The hamster was stunned by the sudden display of fury emitting from the mouse and replaced his paw. "I'm sorry about the squirrel races being ruined," he said. "That's not an apology, Jerry." "What do I have to be sorry for?" asked Jerry. "Just apologize." Again, with a fire of fury that made Jerry shiver beneath his fur. His ego momentarily stunned, his lips became capable. "I'm sorry." He hung his head as apologetic hamsters do. "Come on, dude." Jenny Bean pulled herself out from the drain. "How do you know it's safe?" "Mate, the day we start following your senses is the night I sleep bum to bum with fish sticks. But how do you know?" "Jerry, that's not something you know, it's something you feel. Those humans done bred all that out of you. That's why you're the lunatic." "Where are we going?" Jerry still hadn't budged. "We're going to the piss pond, mate. A gathering on the shores will surely be called in." Jenny Bean stopped when she realized how pointless this was. "Jerry, does it really matter? Do you want to be a dead or alive weasel dung chomper?" Which is a horrible name to call him in the world. "I'm not a weasel dung chomper." But he was sure acting like one. But what else could he do but follow the one who called him this horrible name? Death or abuse seemed the options at hand, and at least he could take the abuse now and still die later. But the thought of death was still too horrible to think about. So he focused on the tail gliding in front of him. He took in the nimbleness of the one he followed. She was mean, but she was nice looking. Jerry couldn't very well deny that. If she stopped speaking and squeaking, she'd be really nice to have around in a cage-type environment. It wasn't really her fault. All field mice were stupid. Just the sad fact that this one had to have such taut muscles and a limber stride. Watching her glide was like watching a butterfly song sing itself to a rainbow. Jerry had to race his fastest just to keep up. He thought about when he used to race on his wheel and he couldn't wait to tell Jenny Bean about it, expecting she'd love it. Maybe so much that she'd be open to finding a new cage for the two of them. One with 2 wheels, of course, and 2 water nipples. Jerry wasn't really into sharing any of his things. But with a large enough cage, one with 2 of everything, plenty of food that he'd get first dibs on, this could maybe work. Maybe if she promised never to speak inside the cage, he thought, scurrying behind Jenny Bean into a just-born night fresh with new speculation. So knowing a lot of you are musicians, I'm going to read just this little scene. So Jerry, the human, Jerome, is about to be evicted from his house. He's got like a week left. So he started drinking again, and in the process of like getting drunk for the first time in 10 years, he's gone down to his basement and pulled out his songs again. And then May, the girl, like stumbled upon him when he was like passed out over his piano, and all of his songs, 1,000 songs from his lifetime of music, spread all over. So he was always kind of discouraging her to write her own songs because she was never practicing her lessons. And so like the secret's out, and May has cut, she is purposely failing exercise 7 of the pedal book because she's cut with an X-Acto knife, a slot for her iPod, and has this idea that she's going to upload his music to YouTube, make a bunch of money, and then save Jerome and buy him a new house. So that's kind of where we are. And I'm not sure, I can't read my writing here, so I'm going to skip in the middle of the chapter. And so May's basically, school's about to start, this is like the looming doom in her life, and she's like given $100 of her own money to buy these private jam session lessons where Jerome plays his music to her, but there was like some scene where like, he refused to take the money back because she brought up a lot of this hurt that he hasn't really dealt with, because then he ultimately killed her mom, and she doesn't know that. And May is really kind of the, I think the first 4 chapters are kind of like the reader is intrigued by what the fuck is going on, but then like her story, I think really, I hope, takes hold, and there's a lot of identification and rooting for this little girl who just kind of doesn't really like this town, doesn't feel like she fits in. Only later does it come out that she kind of was going to leave, but wasn't for this opportunity this evening. Please, she said, school is starting. Can I have my 4 other jam session lessons? She looked past Jerome and didn't see any $20 bills on the floor. This was a good sign. He still had $100. Why do you hate school so much? Jerome asked. All my classmates are inbred farm kids. That's not nice to say, laughed Jerome, clearly getting a kick out of this. His gray hair mushroom cut was disheveled as hell. But this wasn't because of the booze. This was just Jerry Hopkins' way of being. After 60, if you're still single and you go out for groceries with